Well, good morning, folks. We are back on the floor of Central Minex 2023. And as I said before, I've been involved in a lot of trade shows. This has to be one of the busiest. It's been, Scott is our first guest. We'll introduce him in a second. The noise level has just risen. I believe it's open to schools this morning, so there's a lot of students here today. But as I said, I've been at a lot of trade shows. This is probably one of the most well-attended trade shows I've been at. Yep. So, Scott, I connected with you via LinkedIn last night,
yep.
And I love LinkedIn. I think it's a wonderful platform. But you posted some incredible iceberg videos,
yeah.
And I had to reach out to you when you said you were here. So, Scott, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. My name's Scott Allen, originally from Cornbrook, Newfoundland, living in St. John's right now. Geotechnical engineer by trade, and I own AllRock Consulting. We started back in 2018, and started in Cornbrook, and have grown across the island to locations in St. John's, and then more recently in Gander, and we also got a bit of work on the mainland up in Toronto and Ottawa. So yeah, very, very busy times.
I know a little bit about traveling away for work.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. There's no gray hair there. You're a young man.
Yeah.
And you started in 2018.
Yep, that's right.
Give us a little bit of the, thumbnail sketch as to how you started this.
Sure, yeah. So, like I said, I'm a geotechnical engineer by trade. Worked in Cornbrook for a while after graduation. Went to the University of New Brunswick in Fredericton. Shout out UNB. And worked in Cornbrook, and then in St. John's a fair bit, and then up in Halifax in my field. And then an opportunity came knocking. The company I was working for in Cornbrook, they actually shut down their location in Cornbrook and a few other around the Maritimes. It was a big kind of corporate decision, and I basically approached the management and said, listen, I'm looking to buy your equipment and hire back on the employees that I have gained a relationship and got pretty close with, and that's what I did. So I bought out the equipment and started our first office and laboratory location in Cornbrook, and since then we started off with a great team and just expand across the province, working for construction companies, into the mining now, engineers, developers, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Wow, it's amazing to me, and this happens every time. People kind of gloss over that. Like, you just summarized a pretty amazing journey. Yeah. Let me ask you this. How challenging was it to make that decision? Had you had any background in business, any family members?
Yeah. So my family comes from an entrepreneurial background in fishing. My family owned Allen's Fisheries in Cornbrook and Benoit's Cove for years, and I was exposed to that my whole life. The challenges and the sacrifices you got to make, but also the rewards as well of being able to have a little bit more freedom and kind of go out on your own. So that really drew my attention growing up, and it's kind of been in my blood, and I always knew that I was going to start my own thing and kind of create my own path, and that's what I did, and now we're here.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad both in the fishery?
So Mom was a teacher, and Dad was Dad and his brother owned Allen's Fisheries, and Reese sold out a number of years ago.
Yeah.
But
you employing them now?
No. I'm not sure if Dad finished high school, so he's not much of a geotechnical engineer. So
yeah. Mom and Dad must be proud of you.
Yeah. No, they help out when they can. I'll give them credit where credit's due. They do a lot of labor work for us, and help clean up our locations. And anytime there's kind of running around, dropping off supplies, and helping out between offices, trying to make sure everything runs smoothly. So yeah, definitely won't say they're not contributing at all. But yeah. So
2018, you take control of this company.
Yep, that's right.
2 years later, COVID hits.
Yep.
Did you second guess yourself?
Oh yeah. So it was, I guess, right before COVID, I made the decision to, expand to St. John's, because we were having a lot of clients doing work on the West Coast and on the East Coast, so it made sense. And then COVID hit, being 2 years into a business, it's pretty gut-wrenching when everything starts shutting down, and but luckily we were a little bit sheltered in construction. When people start losing jobs, the government sometimes starts pumping money into infrastructure to I guess make work projects and keep the economy going. So that was helpful for us being construction based. So.
On that note, let's talk a little bit about your business.
Yep.
What exactly is it that you do?
Yeah, so we do, at a high level, engineering services for the construction and mining industries. So, what that boils down to is basically 3 main service lines. So the first is geotechnical engineering, which is, the study of, rocks and soil and kind of how they interact with buildings and roadways and stuff like that. Basically making sure you're not getting any, settlement when you're designing these infrastructure
You want
projects.
A foundation to land on.
Exactly. So that's what we're all about, making sure that the civil engineers have all the information.
We could do a whole podcast on that. That's fascinating. I did a geography degree, by the way, but anyway.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So that's one of our main service lines. And then it's materials testing. So we actually have laboratories at each of our locations. We do concrete testing, soil testing, asphalt testing for, a lot of construction projects. For example, Marathon Gold, we're down there with a mobile laboratory doing, soils testing, concrete testing, making sure that, basically quality control to make sure that everything is getting built to specification. And then lastly, we which is a bit newer, we're doing environmental, phase 1s, phase 2s, environmental testing, and a whole nother scope of work up in Ontario. They just introduced these new regulations that require some pretty heavy consultation with environmental engineers. So that's what we're doing up there.
Wow, that's amazing. You've got a lot on the go, obviously. And you have how many locations now?
We've got 5 locations now. So one in our initial in Corner Brook. We expanded to St. John's. More recently, actually, we had a shop. We got a shop here in Gander, which is why I'm trying to get our name out here a bit more and get involved in these the abundance of mining projects that are hopefully going to be coming up in the next few years, and then Toronto and Ottawa, which is more recent as well. But it's a completely different ball game up there, and we're just as busy up there as we are here as well. So it's a whole different world. Yeah.
So Scott, how many staff approximately do you have on there now?
This summer, with a few of the bigger projects, we've got one we're working on a wind tower laydown area in Argentia and Marathon Gold. We'll probably be up over probably the mid-30s by the time, and obviously we're very seasonal, staff up in the summer based on construction, and then in the winter, keeping on more of our core engineering staff.
30 people, 30 people.
Yep.
When you started in 2018, did you anticipate there'd be that many?
No. No. The expanding and kind of hedging our bets on the mainland up in Ontario really helped as well. I mean, it's in our business, it's kind of, in most businesses, it's very up and down. So I wanted to kind of hedge our bets and not stick all of our eggs in one basket. And I think with Newfoundland, and especially central Newfoundland, with the way things are moving towards all these mining projects and hydrogen projects, it's I'm very glad to be in the position and geographies we're in right now, because it's going to be a busy couple years coming up. So yeah.
You are a very articulate young man, and you have 30 people. Do you have how big a management team do you have with you?
So I'll say we have, everyone in our organization is very important, and I would say my core kind of operations team, I call us. There's 5 of us. So that would be some folks of varying backgrounds, geotech engineers, business backgrounds and stuff like that really run the whole ship. So.
I got a question. I'm going to be 57 on Monday. So, did your youth ever tend to get in the way or hold you back?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially in the construction industry, when I first started, very boots on the ground, and you walk up to a construction site, and as a geotechnical engineer, and my baby face doesn't help either. Grew this mustache. I hope.
Are you 20 yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. yeah. Well, on the way. Yeah, 18. But anyways, no. So it's especially in construction, walking up to sites, who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
Young pup. So anyways, it's something, I knew I was coming. It's being in the construction industry, you're exposed to that. And then also on the, entrepreneurial side of things, a little harder to work with, banks and get funding because, people kind of judge you. But, that's just a hurdle. It makes it fun, it makes it more enjoyable, makes it funner to get over those hurdles. And so.
Well, I'm not going to judge anyone that judges the youth because healthy skepticism, frankly, I understand it. That being said, man, it's so interesting to sit with you, and for you as a young person bursting through all that, obviously, you've got some real fire in your belly to keep this thing going. Yeah,
well, you know what? It's healthy skepticism makes sense. The amount of mistakes I've made in the past 6 years is I've got a list of them. So I mean, healthy skepticism makes sense. Just being youthful and not having been through a full business cycle. You're gonna make mistakes, and I've made them. But you know what? Just I really make sure that anything I do and any mistakes I make, that there's lessons learned, and it's just every mistake you make just makes you that more stronger and that much better in business to make sure you don't make it again.
I think you're right. I mean, when you make mistakes, you're humbled.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps, like, business people like us, we're confident.
Yeah.
I've never been able to be cocky, because the moment you feel a little cocky, something comes by and smacks you in the side of the head.
You're
right?
Absolutely right. Some Fridays we'll get a big job and I'll walk into the weekend with a bit of pep in my step, and then I just stop and like, okay, I gotta tone it down here because I'm gonna get smacked in the face on Monday, guaranteed. So I've learned through trial and error. You don't want to get too high because you'll get knocked down pretty quick. Yeah.
So a couple more questions.
Sure.
You said that you're here because you see the future of the mining industry. Talk a little bit about your anticipation for what you think is coming. Yeah,
well, one thing I mentioned yesterday in the panel that I was involved in, all this spending in central Newfoundland for these exploration companies, and now more developed companies like Marathon coming in, obviously it's the direct spend in the exploration, but you also have all those, shoot-off industries. There's homes being built, there's roadways that got to get updated. There's all that stuff that you don't see, those secondary and tertiary, markets that you need to support those, that, exploration and mining sectors. That really is what drives the economy, and really where we see in the construction industry is where we provide most of our services.
Yeah.
So what I see is the more there's been a wave of exploration and mining, and it's really helping the local economy. And then you've got some other projects that are coming down the pipeline with the hydrogen and wind projects that are extremely exciting. And I couldn't be happier to have made the decision to start up here in Central and grow, because it's going to be busy times coming up.
Oh, I agree. Myself and my business partner were in Argentia about a month ago. We haven't posted any of that stuff yet. We're going to. But you're right. I mean, they're hiring thousands of people. Stephenville is happening. There's 2,000 people in this mining sector that they need in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So what I say to my both sons is that, there's an incredible economic boom. We're on the cusp of it in Newfoundland. It's actually happening now, and you can see it by the number of people. As we sit here, there's hundreds of people just milling about here. We always ask our guests to give a piece of advice. You're a young man who's done a lot in a very short period of time. What would you say to someone who's, say, 17, 18, 19, 20 years of age, or older, whatever? What piece of advice would you like to leave?
That's a good question. I think regardless if you're in entrepreneurship or any type of leadership position, it sounds cliche, but your team and treating people, with respect, and if you could, invest your time and your knowledge, and really how to treat people and how to be a good manager. you can't get anything done without a good team. Like you said, I've done a fair bit in the past 5-6 years. Wouldn't be able to do any of that without the team. So, and what that's about is knowing who your good ones are, and really I use an analogy of a garden. Make sure you're watering your flowers, and that'll kind of block out any weeds that grow, because your good team members will pick up all the rest of the team. So you really just got to treat people with respect and listen to them, and really spend time on your superstars, and that'll accomplish allow you to accomplish anything you want. But it's all about your team. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this, I've been privileged to spend time with this superstar here today. I think the province, the country needs more people like Scott Allen doing tough things in the entrepreneurial space. This is the future, ladies and gentlemen, of Newfoundland and Labrador, and it's my privilege to have him on our podcast. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. That's some kind words. I appreciate it. Thanks.